Hi, my name is Emiko Matsumoto. I'm a lecturer at the Faculty of International Liberal Arts in Juntendo University. I'm also a student in doctoral course in Meisei University. The title of my presentation is Michel Foucault's Notion of Knowledge and Power and its Application to English Education. This study is part of an attempt to conduct discourse analysis to explore what is needed in curriculum for English education in medical schools to develop English programs in Japan as my doctoral dissertation. Why English education in medical university is important? Well, currently, with the progress of globalization around the world, medical professionals such as doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs are also required to respond in internationalization in various situations. For example, since communication in hospitals will ascertain life or death, sometimes the doctor's inefficiency for meaningful communication causes problems, especially when they communicate with patients from all over the world. Now, through the way to conduct critical discourse analysis of medical doctors, I would like to elucidate notion of discourse, power, and discipline by Michel Foucault. Michel Foucault, the author of Discipline and Punish, was a French social philosopher. Today, he is widely recognized as one of the most influential contemporary thinkers in both the social sciences and humanities. He was the son of a surgeon, and he grew up as a part of a wealthy and socially conservative family in Western France. He was a leading anti-prison activist, and that is the subject of the book Discipline and Punish. Turning the front cover of Michel Foucault's Discipline and Punish, readers are frightened by bizarre pictures and illustrations that all expresses cruel and brutal practices in execution and physical punishment. In addition to that, the first chapter starts with sentences of atrocious descriptions as follows. Damien was taken and conveyed in the cart wearing nothing but a shirt, holding a torch of burning wax weighing 2 pounds. Then in the cart, the flesh will be torn from his breasts, arms, thighs, and calves with red fraught pincers, and so forth. In the beginning of first chapter of his book, starting from these cruel scenes, Foucault continued describing the scene of corporal punishment. Those descriptions can be taken by readers as excessive interference to the physical body and the series of violence that encompass excessive agony. We understand that through those brutal scenes, Foucault might want to give the basic picture or the old version of Discipline and Punish. But considering his interest to health, disease, public hygiene, why he chose the description of prison rather than choosing hospitals, psychiatric institutions, or mental hospital. According to Foucault, discourse is everywhere. His claim was based on the idea that not one person or group alone possesses power. Because the individual is constructed from the power relations, to escape from these power relations to Foucault's understanding is impossible. Foucault understood discipline was not a top-down application of direct force. According to Foucault, discipline is power used in a way that makes the individual self-regulate. In his book, Discipline and Punish, Foucault deeply examined the relationship between the physical body of the individual and what he calls power knowledge. Power knowledge is a marriage of power and knowledge that allows the powerful to classify and control people and things. These are all themes that appear throughout Foucault's thinking. To take his family history and educational background into account, Michel Foucault's discourse and power theory are not separated from the field of educational management. It has also linked to the medical doctor's English educations. As Stuart Hall said, all social practices entail meaning, and meaning shapes and influences what we do. All the social practices that we have possess a discursive aspect to them. Similarly, what Foucault said was that discourse never consists of just one statement or just one action or one source of information. The same discourse that characterizes the way of talking or thinking in a state of knowledge at any one time can cross a range of texts that may lead to different forms of conduct within knowledge, and that nothing exists outside discourse. This is the central to Foucault's thinking process. If we apply his notion to our daily communication, we can categorize power as two different kinds. Power being forced by threats, and the power that is disciplined unconsciously. Usually, when we think of power, we tend to think of violence, whether physical or mental. For example, a judge can exercise power by ordering a criminal to be locked up for many years. And angry boss in the office can use his power by telling his employee to do what he wants them to do. You want to do one thing, but someone else uses their power to force you to do what they want you to do. However, in the modern society, if you are really powerful, you wouldn't need to use it. For example, take speed violation while driving. Only a few of us actually go to jail for speed violation. We are actually motivated not to violate speed limit, not because we are afraid of going to jail, but because we do not have to violate the speed limit. Those kind of self-regulating power turns us into people who automatically will do what society wishes them to do. We can apply this idea into English education in medical school. If students are successfully taught by educations, they can be motivated to learn well for the university courses and to get their degree in 6 years. Students also learn how to be good medical professionals and also how to communicate in English. So my research questions are like this. In medical schools, when doctors have information about patients' medical conditions, how they convey those messages, and what kind of doctor's discourse affects the way they deliver the message, and what English education is needed for the doctor's discourse. Next, let me introduce research method of this study. I conducted interview to 3 doctors. The behavior repeatedly mentioned by the interviewee is extracted and interpreted qualitatively based on the theory. There were many cases where the similar elements included in the remark of healthcare professionals appeared in the same context in the complex way. Involved in the current research were 3 medical doctors. Here, I placed a list of 3 participants and their gender, age, and affiliation. Real names have been replaced by pseudonyms. The interview was conducted for 6 days from March 11th to March 20, 2020, and the total length of interview was approximately 4 hours. As an excerpt 1, one of the obstetricians, when telling the patients about their pregnancy, mentioned, I never say congratulations at first. Of course, I often get complaint when I don't say congratulations to the patient who realized their pregnancy. I only say it after the birth because some people have miscarriages. Not everyone wants to be celebrated. Another medical doctors in breast oncology department, when telling about patient's cancer, says, maybe now everyone does that. Doctors say cancers to the patient 100%. It's an error when even which stage of cancer the patient wants to know. If the family strongly want the patient not to know about the cancer, I would hide it to the patient. But usually, if we don't say it, it won't lead to treatment. So we have to explain. We should look at the patient's face and see if I explained enough. One of the obstetricians, when telling the patient about their cancer, says, on the other hand, when I announce to patients about malignant tumors, I don't know if there is, but some people use the word cancer from the beginning, and some people express it as bad things. Well, I try to see people if I say a little clearly, or I should not say clearly from the beginning. I would tell cancer to a patient if I know they would collapse. I wouldn't tell cancer to a patient if I know they would collapse, if I use the word. One endoscopic surgeon, when telling the patient about their cancer, well, thinking, he's thinking, of course there are people like that, but of course, way of receiving message is also different. So there are many people who can recover now from cancer. So there are some people who can switch quickly because it was good to find it early in that sense. And well, now, even if you explain that it will not become too bad immediately, well, after all, the image of cancer is strong. In the past, the image of cancer was strong, and there are people who are quite shocked. There is a finding that several doctors say listening to patients' idea and understand and feel their emotion and deliver the message is important. Even when they have knowledge and power, doctors try to understand the way and how to deliver the message. There is a finding that several doctors say so the implication is I'd like to find out that what doctors will divide these two groups. And listening means not the hearing ability of the ears, it means sympathy and alignment. And what are the good ways to teach these skills in medical schools? Thank you for listening.